Good morning. It's Thursday. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050 FM 106.5 and FM 102.3. I'm digging this song.
Erin, name that tune, though. What is that?
It is Chicago. It is 25 or 6 to 4.
Nice.
Have those 70s flashbacks. Lots of energy for this morning.
Right.
I got no sleep last night.
You were a night owl.
Yeah, so I'm the incoming president for my Rotary Club, as I've talked about before. And we had a meeting last night, and I was leading the meeting. And after the meeting, it was really good. We talked about the four-way test speech contest that high school students can participate in. And the four-way test is it's the ethical way that Rotarians live their lives. And so the first is it the truth? So anything that you do, you have to ask yourself, is it the truth? The second thing is it fair to all concerned? The third thing is, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And the fourth thing is, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Okay, so the kids, when they do their speech contests in the various clubs, and they can move up to the district level and earn all kinds of prizes, they have to write on that subject.
Yes.
So, and if you start thinking about, it's really, we're talking about ethics, and when you start thinking about it, it's, that's pretty wide open, and it's also something that we desperately need. We don't teach ethics anymore, and some people believe that if you're ethical, you're a sucker.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, if you're following rules and behaving properly, and everyone around you is lying and cheating and stealing, you're going to get steamrolled. That seems to be the prevalent attitude, which is convincing a lot of people to be unethical.
You know, the interesting thing is this weekend we rented, and I'm just going to buy it, but it was $1.99 to rent it. One of my all-time favorite movies, which is The Big Short, and I watched it twice. And one of the points that they make right at the beginning of the movie was that fraud is rampant in the United States. This time leading up to the crash, really till 2008, when the roof caved in. That fraud was everywhere, and that we're living in a time of fraud.
It's interesting because I actually just watched a video online a little bit ago talking about political corruption and how the problem really isn't the Republican Party versus the Democratic Party. It's the corruption against the rest of us, right? That how the system has basically been corrupted because of all the money in politics.
Yeah. Well, and especially both sides point to each other and say, you're the corrupt ones. Well, they're both right.
Yes. Yes. Oh, my goodness, Erin.
Isn't that sad?
It is sad.
So how do we clean this up? I mean, usually if there's corruption and fraud going on, then there's a day of reckoning that comes.
Yeah.
But if there's do I hope for a day of reckoning for the U.S.? Well, that's not going to be pretty. And this is our home. This is where, we have our money saved here. Our jobs are here. We're raising our kids here. We live our lives here. So, how do you get your politicians to stop being corrupt?
And we've seen it a lot here locally where we've had people who've been, arrested, gone to jail for corruption scandals, typically skimming money off of their campaign, taking, bribes directly for votes. The one that always stands out in my mind is the one that was in Colton where they took a whole bunch of them took bribes for those billboards. Remember those giant billboards that were put right there at the interchange?
Yes.
And like 4 or 5 people ended up going to jail over that, and
they all took ugly.
They all took big money, and the company that did it, they got their billboards and then they quickly sold them off to another company, and so the billboards are still there because it's a secondary company who bought them after the company that did the corruption, so they didn't take them down, So I mean the corruption, how should I say this? The corruption paid.
It did.
Yeah. Yes, some individuals did some prison time and they got stung, but the corrupt act of getting those billboards put up never was reversed.
And what if the corruption that's going on is actually legal? So it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing it.
Yes.
And so, you're just skirting the campaign finance laws. And, we've seen people get fined for this or go to jail for this when they've stepped over the line. But we've also seen people who go right up to the line and dance all over it. And then they're fined.
I'm in my mind, the biggest one that's happened like that in our area was the colony scandal.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they made legal contributions to legal political action committees, but to anybody who's got a half a brain in their head, it looked very much like a pay-to-play, that they got a multi-million-dollar settlement, and the members who voted for it all got big checks, $100,000 dropped into campaign committees that they controlled. And so thank you for giving us $100 million settlement, and each of you gets $100,000 for your next campaign.
Right.
Who wouldn't spend $100,000 to get $100 million? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
yeah.
It was, and then of course it all got played out in the courts, and all these guys were let go because they were on the legal side.
They were.
But it was definitely ethically suspect and corrupt, I think, my opinion. And and now those very same people who got away with it are now putting big money into the campaign of someone who's running against the DA who prosecuted them.
Yes. And there are people involved who are now coming back and suing the county.
Yes, because they want more money.
Yes.
They
didn't get enough, Tobin.
They didn't get enough. And so it's the craziness of it all. The craziness of it all. I'm like besides myself with the
yes.
And so frustrating.
It is frustrating.
And they get away with it in large part because there's a large segment of our population that doesn't pay attention to these issues, doesn't care about these issues, and so these corrupt people sort of prey on that because they know that there's really not a lot of people out there that care, and so they can kind of manipulate the political system pretty easily.
Well, and I think too that people are starting to get to the point of having outrage fatigue, right?
Yeah.
Because the news is always filled with like this Stormy Daniels nonsense. I don't understand why it's such a big, hairy deal. We as a United States, as a population, the people who voted for Trump, and I didn't, but the people who voted for Trump knew he was a dirtbag with women when they voted for him. So let's talk about Trump's ego, because what's happening is a beautiful porn star woman is out there in the news saying, I had sex with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, you think he wants people not to know that? Yeah. He's the most egomaniacal man that ever walked the earth. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he is such a narcissist. Here's this beautiful woman. Yeah, she's a porn star. And he could say, yeah, I nailed that.
And she's got the benefit, too, because it's the old no news is bad news.
Oh,
I'm certain that sales of her videos are probably going through the more her name is in the media. So why not sue? Why not make more hay of this?
Absolutely. This is reality freaking TV.
Yeah.
And every time I see somebody covering it, whoa, there was a settle. I don't care if there was a settlement.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. This is a man who cheated on his first wife with a whole bunch of women, one of whom he married. Then he cheated on his second wife with a whole bunch of women, and one of whom he married. And so the fact that Stormy Daniels is one of many, I'm not surprised.
Yes.
And to be honest, I don't know that anybody's surprised.
No, I don't think they are. I don't think they are. And of course the left wants to say, well, you all were morally outraged about Clinton. Yeah, but Clinton was trying to portray himself as being something other than that.
Well,
and he was caught lying in a court case. So that was
and he was credibly accused of rape on multiple occasions.
Yeah. So they're very different stories.
So we have a guest at 6:20. So I am going to take us to a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we'll be right back.
This is Scientific American's 60-Second Science. I'm Christopher Intagliata. The annual meeting of the National Rifle Association is coming up in May. It's scheduled for Dallas. And if past events are any guide, gun injuries may actually go down in Texas during the event.
When the convention is held in a person's state in that year, gun injuries fall.
Anupam Jaina, an economist and physician at Harvard Medical School. Jaina and his team discovered that surprising link by tracking visits to hospitals and emergency rooms for gun injuries during 9 years' worth of NRA conventions. And they found the number of people hurt by guns dropped 20% during NRA meetings, compared to the same days of the week 3 weeks before and after the show. There's no definitive causal link here, but the researchers do have a few ideas. First could be avid gun users are at the show, away from their guns, or shooting them in more supervised situations, and thus unable to injure themselves or others. Or, if some members of a regular gun club are out of town, maybe the group postpones its meetup the week of the show, thus avoiding accidents that otherwise might have occurred.
It could be the case also that people who own venues where firearms might be used, like firing ranges or hunting grounds, may be likely to attend these conventions. And if those venues are closed, they might expect to see declines in gun use during that period as well.
The results are in the New England Journal of Medicine. The NRA didn't respond to a request for comment in time for this report, but Jana said their objection might be, why would gun injuries decline 20% if only a few percent of gun owners actually make it to the show?
I would assume that the roughly 2% of people who are gun owners who attend NRA conventions are probably much heavier users of firearms.
And assuming you believe guns are inherently unsafe, people who shoot their guns a lot might also be more prone to injury than those who keep them locked away all year, which would mean that NRA conventions might actually protect some gun owners from themselves. Thanks for listening. For Scientific American's 60-Second Science, I'm Christopher Intagliata.
There's a new furniture store in town, DC Furniture in the Tri-City Center. What's so grand about DC Furniture? Well, they've got a wide selection and discounts up to 70% off retail. But the best part is they carry furniture for your home, not for some magazine photo. Furniture you can live with. That's what you get at DC Furniture, just off the Alabama exit of Interstate 10 on Industrial Parkway in Redlands. You'll feel at home at DC Furniture.
Donald Carpenter here with the Family Man's Faith and Finance Show. We're moving to a new time, 3 o'clock on Mondays, right here on KCAA.
KCAA, where every day is a great day.
Welcome back. I'm Marion Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So excited to welcome to the show Janice Kaplan. She's enjoyed wide success as a magazine editor, television producer, writer, and journalist. The former editor-in-chief of Parade magazine, she's the author of 13 popular books, including the New York Times bestseller, The Gratitude Diaries, which received international praise. She's appeared regularly on network television shows and lives in New York City and Kent, Connecticut. After spending a year researching and experiencing gratitude for the Gratitude Diaries, Janice Kaplan is back to tackle another big mysterious influence in all of our lives, luck. Janice Kaplan, welcome to the show.
Good morning. A pleasure to be with you.
So you went from gratitude to luck. Talk about that transition.
Well, in many ways, it was a natural transition, because what I discovered in writing the Gratitude Diaries is that we have a lot more control over our lives than we think we do, that it's not events that are going to make us happy, but how we look at the events. And so after that book, I started thinking about what are other things that we think of as being random, but that we really can control. And I hit on luck, because I realized that so often we just think that luck is something that rains down on us, that it just, falls from the sky. And as I did more and more research, I discovered that we actually can control our luck, that we actually can make positive things happen for us by the kinds of things that we do. And once we understand that, we can really change our experiences in our careers, in our jobs, and our love lives, and in everyday living too.
So how does one do that? I mean, who wouldn't want to improve their luck?
Right, absolutely. And my discovery was that luck occurs at the intersection of random chance, which you really can't do a whole lot about, but the other two parts of that are talent and hard work. And by talent, I don't mean you have to be Meryl Streep. I mean that you have to be open to seeing possibilities, open to seeing opportunities, willing to jump on things, sometimes willing to try things in a slightly different way. And hard work is hard work. So you put those together, and you really have an ability then that when that randomness happens, either it doesn't matter because you have the other two things that you're dealing with, or you're able to take a better advantage of it.
So how do you learn to recognize opportunity and discern? Because you don't want to be the person that grabs at everything, because then you do nothing well. I've tried it. It doesn't work. And then, but you also don't want to let a good opportunity to go by. So how do you develop that discernment?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think you really have to focus on knowing what you want. Because when you're able to point to something and you're able to decide where you're headed, you're much more likely to get there. One of the things that really makes luck is other people. Other people will often help you. And if you're able to state very specifically where you want to go, the kind of job you want, the person you want to meet, somebody is likely to help you with that. Now, that's not to say that you can't change your mind or that you can't go in a different direction. Being persistent, though, and heading in a particular direction, being passionate about something really encourages the luck making out there and encourages other people to help you.
So who are some of the people that you talked to in writing this book?
Well, we spoke to all sorts of psychologists and academics and researchers. Also spoke to a lot of celebrities and very successful business people. And one of the interesting things is that we think about people who are successful as being big risk takers, right? They've done something crazy and it paid off. And that doesn't tend to be the case. I was surprised to discover that often people, the most successful business people, sort of put a floor under themselves. And I have a chapter called "How Many Eggs in Your Basket and How Many Baskets?" And that goes a bit to what you were just saying about trying different opportunities. Sometimes you do need to diversify. There's a myth, I think, that you have to throw yourself all in to something and not have any backup plan. Well, some of the most successful, some of the people who do look the luckiest have a backup plan, so that when one thing fails and they fall into the next one, they look really lucky that other opportunity was there. But guess what? They've put that opportunity in place. They knew that there was the risk on the first one, and so they have that second opportunity in place.
Well, I think of people who were lucky, and I would say Harrison Ford is probably, to me, the case of one of the luckiest people alive, because wasn't he a carpenter working around the people who made Star Wars and found himself in an audition or something crazy like that?
Exactly right. When he was very young, he came to Los Angeles to be an actor. And by the way, putting yourself in the place where luck can happen is principle number one. If you want to be an actor, go to Los Angeles. But he was having no luck there, no success at all, and he ended up becoming a carpenter. And a guy who hired him to build some cabinets for him happened to turn out to be George Lucas. And they went on to do American Graffiti together, and then, of course, to do the Star Wars together. So that seems like a bit of random luck, doesn't it? But you got to think again. Harrison Ford was really talented. He did put himself in a place where luck could happen. He was the kind of guy who, when he happened to be building the cabinets for George Lucas, he didn't just build the cabinets, he made a friend. He showed the guy that he was talented. He let him know that this is something that he wanted to do. And so you have to think that if it hadn't been George Lucas, it probably would have been somebody else. Now, there can be, I'm sure there are lots of really talented people out there who do never get an opportunity. But if you put yourself in the place where luck can happen, if you push and know what you want, then you're more likely to become Harrison Ford. Wow.
So what advice would you give to people, young and old, who maybe just are feeling like they're in a rut, that there's something that they wanted to do, but they haven't had the courage to do it? What would you tell them?
I think one bit of advice that I was given by actually an astrophysicist was to, and not a surprise that he sees it this way, was to pull back and see things from a distance. Sometimes, as you said, you feel like you're caught in a rut, or you feel like some bad luck has hit you, and you can't see anything except that little circle right around you, right? So try to pull back, try to get a perspective, and then maybe you can start to see some of the other paths that you might be able to take. Give yourself that little exercise of saying, okay, here's where I am right now. What are 3 different ways that I might be able to go? And that's going to give you the encouragement that, yeah, there are opportunities out there. There are possibilities. And you have to just be willing to take them and to have the courage to go ahead with them.
You know, it's interesting. I think that this is this kind of positive attitude, and you know, decisions are made by people in the room more than anything. So if you want to be connected to those people, you have to find a situation where you're in the room with them.
Right, as the line from the Hamilton song goes, "I want to be in the room where it happens," and that's exactly right. You know, there's lots of stuff that we all do online now, but nobody ever actually got married online, right? You can meet people online, you can make your first connection to a job online, but you're going to have to be out there and connect to the people and meet people. And also discovered that we often think that the people closest to us, our closest friends, our family, are the people who are going to bring us luck. Well, there's a second circle that sociologists call weak ties, which are the people who are in that next circle who we know but we don't really see very often. And interestingly, they are often the people who bring us the most luck, because the people who are closest to us have the same connections we do. They know the same opportunities we do. It's the people in that next circle who maybe know somebody different, who maybe will help you with something, who maybe can connect you to somebody who you don't know or haven't thought of. So having that more expansive circle, and I don't mean just having a lot of Facebook friends, but having people who you've connected to in different ways is also a great luck maker.
So this has been delightful. How do people follow you, and are you on social media?
I am. The book is How Luck Happens, and it's available right now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or your favorite local bookstore. And I'm at JaniceKaplan.com, and on Facebook also under How Luck Happens or The Gratitude Diaries.
Well, Janice Kaplan, thank you so much for joining us today, and what a delightful interview, and I'm looking forward to really diving into the book.
Wonderful. Great to talk to you.
Thank you. So much. So it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
NBC News Radio. I'm Lisa Carter. The second nor'easter in less than a week is taking a toll on the Northeast. Hundreds of thousands are without power this morning because of the heavy, wet snow.
Power lines and trees snapped by snow and wind, leading to even more power outages. To make matters worse, tens of thousands were already in the dark following last week's storm.
NBC's Dylan Dreyer. Hundreds of flights canceled because of the nasty weather. Florida lawmakers are sending a gun control bill to Governor Rick Scott. Yesterday, the State House passed the bill that limits gun purchases to people 21 and older. It also requires a 3-day waiting period for most gun purchases. Schools across the U.S. have gotten more than 600 threats since last month's deadly school shooting in Florida. The Educators School Safety Network says that number is probably low. Some of the threats were real and stopped in time, but officials say a huge number were hoaxes. Lisa Carter, NBC News Radio.
It's time for traffic on KCAA. I'm Erin Brinker. In the Cajon Pass, that 138 both northbound and southbound between Summit Valley Road and the 15 is closed, and it will remain closed until March 17th. In Corona on the 91 westbound before the 15, a crash is blocking the carpool lane. There's some stop-and-go traffic from Magnolia in Riverside, and it's heavier to Cole Canyon. In Corona on the 15 northbound before El Cerrito Road, a crash pushed one vehicle into a tree on the shoulder. There's some stop-and-go traffic from Temescal Canyon Road, and they need a cable to recover the vehicle, so this may take a while. This has been your traffic on KCAA. We are the stations that leave no listener behind. I'm Erin Brinker.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Rod Tanner. For this morning, we can expect a mostly sunny day with a high of 78. We'll have mostly cloudy conditions overnight with a low of 49. Friday, we'll have a partly sunny day, our high 74, with winds to 20 miles an hour. Heading into the weekend, Friday night, there's a slight chance of rain. We'll have mostly cloudy skies at a low of 51. Rain is likely Saturday afternoon. Get it mostly cloudy with a high of 68. I'm Rod Tanner, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center with the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California. KCAA 102.3 FM Riverside, 106.5 FM Redlands, and the Legacy 1050 AM Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
Hi, it's Jan Elliott in Snow Country. This brought to you by Indeed, used by over 3 million businesses for hiring. Post your next job on the world's #1 job site, Indeed.com. Mild temperatures rolling in, and we could see some strong winds today, and that could put some lifts on a wind hold. Now we're looking at snow levels around 7,000 feet, so we'll keep up the snow dance. It looks like we're going to have this kind of weather over the next few days as we head into the weekend. At Mountain High, close to 10 open trails. Snow Summit on close to 20, and they're skiing 15 runs at Bear Mountain. June mountain skiing at all with 35 trails open and 5 lifts turning. And at Bear Valley, where they're skiing over 40 runs. Live music coming up on the Sun Deck on Saturday. Sugar Bowl just about skiing it all with 100 trails. If you're doing some traveling, well, the Arizona Snow Bowl checks in on 45 packed powder trails. Crested Butte dropped the ropes on even more runs. Now over 100 trails and all 15 lifts turning. More at snowcountry.com. I'm Jan Elliott on the trifecta of talk, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM, the stations that leave no listener behind.
Broadcasting more local radio programs than any other station in California. We are KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Marion Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So apparently Alexa's starting to creep people out.
I actually was sitting at home last night waiting. I thought, because I'd seen this, and I'm thinking, Alexa's going to laugh any minute now. And she never did.
So Alexa is aware, and Alexa's laughing at you. Apparently... Amazon is aware that Alexa is aware and laughing at you. Okay, Alexa's not quite aware.
Yeah.
I made that up. I was making a HAL, was it HAL 9000 reference. Amazon is aware that Alexa is laughing at you, and they're working to fix it, The Verge reports. Hold on, what? Starting in February, owners of the Alexa-enabled devices began reporting laughter coming from their digital personal assistants, occasionally without any sort of prompting whatsoever. Lying in bed, about to fall asleep, when Alexa on my Amazon Echo Dot lets out a very loud and creepy laugh, one person tweeted last month. There's a good chance I get murdered tonight.
Right?
Somebody's going to make a movie about that. According to BuzzFeed, people have described it as a chilling witch-like laugh and evil. The laugh wasn't in the Alexa voice, one Reddit user said. It sounded like a real person. In fact, some people say they thought it was someone in their home when Alexa laughed. Others unplugged the device rather than risk hearing the laugh again. Ugh. It's so far unclear what's causing Alexa to laugh, but Gizmodo reports it seems like a technical issue rather than, we suppose, the beginning of a robot uprising. Well, some people say Alexa is laughing without their prompting and without making a chiming noise first, like she typically would do if activated. Others say the personal assistant has laughed while being asked to turn off the lights or turns itself off or when its physical volume buttons are pressed. For anyone interested in hearing Alexa's laugh, you can find it online.
So if I was to say, Alexa, laugh, people at home might have their thing laughing right now? That's funny.
Okay, so post on Tobin's Facebook page if your device just came to life and laughed at you.
That's right. Oh my goodness. I did though. I read this article and I sat there at home kind of like eerily waiting.
Like completely creeped out.
Just kind of like I wanted to know if it was going to start laughing at me.
So maybe it's the first foray into the awakening. Maybe Alexa is Skynet.
Yes. It's interesting, though, because, she has no arms, she has no legs. All she has is a bunch of people's credit card information. What? Packages are going to start showing up at the house for Alexa.
It's an Amazon plot.
Alexa's gone shopping. Oh, my God.
No. No.
So the robots, you don't have to worry about them doing stuff. You just have to worry about them maxing out your credit card.
So, and what if she started getting really smart alecky, right? So,
like she goes through her teenage years.
Yes.
She's back talking you.
You don't want to listen to that. Oh my God, you have terrible taste in music.
Yeah.
Alexa, tell me a joke. No, you tell yourself a joke.
That's funny.
No.
But the good news is because computers, they do everything so much faster, her teenage years will last about a half an hour.
Oh, there you go. That's good. That's really good.
Half an hour of surly.
Oh, God. Well, speaking of things it's not really a laughing matter. Bitcoin is plummeting after one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges suspended withdrawals.
So I've never really got this whole Bitcoin thing, right? I mean, I think it's really just criminals that are using this stuff.
Yeah, well, no, I think other people are playing around with it. Maybe they got some extra money to burn, so they're buying Bitcoin. But yeah, maybe because you can't. People who are buying kiddie porn or involved, trying to buy a tank on the black market, or I suppose.
Yes.
Yes. So Bitcoin plunged more than 10% yesterday, so as low as $9,600 after rumors began to swirl on Twitter and Reddit that major cryptocurrency exchange Binance had been hacked. Binance is one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world with $1.77 billion worth of digital coins on its platform. WTF is happening? Quote, Binance just sold all my alts at market rate, and I have got just the Bitcoin now. One Reddit user said, "Oh my gosh, sorry, is it because of account getting hacked or Binance bot issues?" So this is like a foreign language to me, and I think that's why I'm kind of stammering over the words.
Yes. You were stammering. You were not stummering, because stummering is not a word. But yeah, no, this whole thing it's so foreign to me. This whole idea of this, and
here's the thing that I'm not comfortable with, and maybe I'm old and out of touch, I don't know, but this idea that your riches are held on somebody else's server somewhere that you have no control over,
yes.
And when it's gone, poof, it's gone.
Yes.
So, and we've seen stories where, I think it was in Japan, there was a couple of, or maybe it was Korea, somewhere in the East, these two guys had they were at a bank, I think, and they had their servers hacked, and they lost like $1 million.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And oh my gosh, it's like people who buy precious metals, mm-hmm. and it's held somewhere in reserve somewhere, and you have no guarantee that they haven't sold that same group of coins or whatever 100,000 times.
Yeah. I'm just so skeptical of all of it, and until you can cash it in and make it into what I think of as real money, it doesn't exist. It's it's a fantasy game that a bunch of overgrown nerds are playing.
The level of trust that it requires in the system and the people who are in charge of that system is just much more than I have to give.
Yes.
Because you never see it. There's nothing to be seen. You don't. Yeah. And it could go in a flash, and you've got literally no recourse.
Yes.
Nothing you can do about it.
Yes, and all your money's gone.
And all your money's gone. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Not my thing.
So the CDC has an opioid report. A CDC head on the opioid report. This is a wake-up call. ER overdoses are up 30% across the U.S. And we talked about this, the prevalence of fentanyl in heroin.
Yes.
Right. So heroin sometimes, and I was watching some documentary on this where the fentanyl, the heroin what they thought was heroin that had just killed this person, was 100% fentanyl, which is far more potent.
Yeah.
America's opioid epidemic is getting worse, not better, according to an alarming new report from the CDC. The Tuesday report shows opioid overdoses that led to emergency room visits across the country jumped 30% from July 2016 to September 2017. In the Midwest, overdoses jumped, are you sitting? 70%, due in part to increases of 109% in Wisconsin and 65.5% in Illinois. Emergency room overdoses also jumped 40% in the West, 21% in the Northeast, and this is tied to increases of 105% in Delaware and 81% in Pennsylvania. 20% in the Southwest, and that's 14% in the South and 14% in the Southeast. This is a quote, we saw sadly that in every region, in every age group of adults, in both men and women, overdoses from opioids are increasing. That's partly because many overdoses occur away from hospitals, but CNN reports the increases in emergency room overdoses in the West and Southwest weren't expected and might foreshadow a death trends to come, as one overdose increases a person's chance of a second.
So the number that I keep seeing is that they've gone over 50,000 overdose deaths in a year, making it more deadly than gun violence. And so more people are killing themselves with drugs than with guns, with opioids specifically. And I will share that I've heard stories of how this is affecting every cross-section of our community. And you might remember the Sun newspaper has been running articles on some of the local school districts and teachers who've gotten in trouble. And a few years ago, there was actually a teacher in the Rialto district that was essentially caught doing his drugs before school. A bus driver saw him parked on the side of the road and noticed, and cops were called, and this teacher was caught, and so it's it's everywhere. I mean, it's people that you would maybe it's your next door neighbors, but these are people who probably started off on just basic prescription pain meds and got hooked, and then they eventually, when they can't get access to the meds that they need from prescriptions, then they start getting stuff on the street. And as you said, a lot of the stuff on the street is laced with fentanyl, right? And that is what's causing these people to die because it's so much stronger. The potency is just through the roof. And we've heard like it's just a granule. Like it's literally like a granule the size of salt. A little piece of salt could be enough to put you over and kill you.
Yes. Well, and if you were to go to the doctor, and you'd have to be on a pretty rigorous pain management system with in partnership with your doctor to get fentanyl in the first place. But it comes in a patch, right?
Yeah.
And so that patch, it's transdermally administered because it could be a little slower, right? So that it's a little safer. But what they're doing is they're heating it up and they're taking the gel from the patch and going from there.
Yeah. It's really a terrible thing. And interestingly, there was another article the other day about how they compared sort of these opioid pain reducers to the regular ones that people use, Tylenol, aspirin, that kind of stuff, and found that there was really minimal difference in the actual pain reduction. And they went through a whole series of different sort of tests and measurements over a 6-month period with different control groups and found that you don't get like extreme extra pain relief. The only thing that sort of you got better from the opioids was that it was they were less sort of stressed out.
Right, and there's something to be said for that, right?
Yeah.
That you're still in pain because the cause of the pain is still there.
Yeah.
So you are still in pain, but when you're taking one medication versus another, you can stand it better, right? So it maybe doesn't reduce the pain any better than the ibuprofen, higher doses of ibuprofen do.
Yeah.
But it makes you far better able to cope with that pain.
Yeah.
And that has merit too.
But that's where the addiction, I think, comes in.
For some people, it does. Now, there's some people who can take these drugs and not become addicted.
Yeah.
But it's clearly a very large percentage of the population is taking these drugs and becoming addicted.
Yeah.
So I don't know. President Trump declared a war on opioids, right? And had this big speech about it and whatever. But what's been done on a federal level? I mean, that typically means that there's going to be dollars released for law enforcement or for social services or for whatever.
Yeah.
So
got to do something, though.
Got to do something. So with that, it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we will be right back.
I'm so tired of the buffering on my smartphone.
I'm so over it. Next.
Right? I am so over it. Next.
A radio? Next.
No buffering, just your favorite local radio station?
Next Radio uses the FM tuner that is already built into your phone, so you can listen to your favorite stations on the go. Because Next Radio uses the FM tuner already built into your smartphone, it saves on data and battery usage. When compared to streaming audio, Next Radio uses less than 1/10 of your data, and your battery will last 3 times longer. Next Radio, it's FM radio on your smartphone.
Introducing a radio inside your cell phone. Listen to all kinds of local radio stations, including KCAA 106.5 Yucaipa and 102.3 Riverside on Next Radio. Download the free Next Radio app today. 100% free, 100% fun, 0% buffering. Stop the buffer and listen to KCAA.
This is Gary Garver. Are you having trouble getting a good night's sleep? Is it affecting your work and personal life? Well, South Pacific Sleep Lab can help you out. South Pacific Sleep Lab provides a personal sleep study to help you find out how to get a great night of sound sleep. I've been having sleeping issues during the night lately. South Pacific Sleep Lab evaluated me with an overnight study of my sleep pattern. With their professional staff, they were able to provide me with a diagnosis of my sleep pattern, and ever since, I've had no problems getting a great night of sleep. South Pacific Sleep Lab has locations throughout Southern California, and they will also provide transportation to any of their locations at no cost to you. South Pacific Sleep Lab can help you out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just give them a call at 310-999-1887 to schedule your appointment today. That's 310-999-1887. South Pacific Sleep Lab. Start resting easy and sleeping sound today.
What if I told you you'd never have to make a house payment again? What if you could pay off much-needed home repairs and even create an income stream based on the value of your home? If you're 62 years old or older, you could be eligible for a reverse mortgage. Call Tim Harrison and find out if a reverse mortgage is right for you. Call Tim at 800-566-2475. That's 800-566-2475. Tim Harrison, branch manager, NMLS number 170960. Broadview Mortgage Corporation is licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. License number 170952. Registered with the Nationwide Mortgage Licensing System and registry number 813B544. Broadview Mortgage, equal housing lender. Remember, if you never want to make a house payment again, except for property taxes, maintenance, and insurance, that's 800-566-2475. That's 800-566-2475.
KCAA, where every day is a great day.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So Wayne State University has made the news. It's in Michigan. A Christian student group at a Michigan university, that being Wayne State, allegedly had its constitution revoked and its Bible meetings canceled by the university because the group requires its leaders to affirm their faith. InterVarsity Christian Fellowship student group at Wayne University, which has been on campus for 75 years, is filing a suit against the university. A statement from Beckett, a nonprofit religious liberty law firm representing the plaintiffs, asserted school officials stripped them of official recognition just because the group requires its leaders to affirm their faith. Wayne State has over 400 student groups that contribute to its intellectual and cultural diversity, all of which are free to select leaders who embrace their missions, except suddenly one Christian group. InterVarsity welcomes all students to its meetings and to join as members. It requires only that its leaders believe and live out the faith. Yet in 2017, Wayne State rejected the group's constitution, de-recognized InterVarsity, and canceled all of InterVarsity's reserved meetings. As Nikita Vladimirov writes at Campus Reform, according to the law firm, the InterVarsity Christian Fellowship chapter at Wayne State has held weekly meetings, including Bible studies and prayer vigils, and organized various community service opportunities on campus for over 7 decades. Lori Wyndham, senior legal counsel at Beckett, argued, asking religious leaders to practice what they preach isn't discrimination, it's integrity. Targeting one Christian group that served the campus for over 75 years while giving itself and dozens of larger groups a pass is truly discriminatory.
Wow. You know, the fact that they've been there for 75 years speaks volumes, right, about what's happening in today's environment. You know, why would they all of a sudden, 75 years later, say, oh, no, you can't do that anymore, right? I mean, this is targeting.
It is targeting.
This is targeting.
So apparently Wayne State does have a Muslim students organization.
So I'm wondering if the Muslim student organization has a Christian president.
I'm thinking no.
Probably not, huh?
Probably not.
But they probably have a constitution that says, hey, you know, all Christians can lead this organization if they want to.
No, I'm seriously thinking they don't have that either.
No?
No.
Oh, you don't think so?
No.
Interesting.
And you know when you join a Greek organization, you know, you have to pledge allegiance. Everybody's seen Animal House. I pledge allegiance to the frat.
Yes.
So, you know, how is that any different? Right? We're talking about student clubs. And say, okay, you don't believe in Christianity, right? You think that it's the Bible is a book of Jewish fairy tales. What do you care if they believe it?
Yes.
Why does it bother you, right?
Yeah.
And why do you care that they say that their members have to believe it too? Not their members. You can believe what you want and be a member, but their leadership has to believe in the Bible.
Yes.
You know, I don't understand why they would pick on this one, you know, this one Christian group.
Yes. And, you know, it's interesting because typically college groups have all kinds of different standards you have to meet. They might have educational GPA standards. They might have very specific things that you have to be able to show knowledge of in order to be a part of the club, right? I mean, you know, you can't join the computer club if you've never used a computer.
Right.
You know, there's some expectation you have some level of skill.
Otherwise,
or something.
the meetings would be really boring.
Yeah. Hey, I don't even own a computer, but you know, no, I'm
going to join the chess club, but I hate chess.
Yeah.
Well, then you're an idiot. No, this is the better question. What's her name?
Yeah. No, you know, here's the thing, too, because this is about being an official club. So now they probably, you know, I'm certain because they didn't just disappear. I'm certain now they're, you know, an unofficial club and they've been cut off from all of the sort of.
Yeah, but so they can't reserve rooms?
Yes. So
and they can't have events?
Exactly. So now you've got individuals sort of, oh, I'm going to have a room in the library for a study meeting, but it's actually a club meeting, you know, and now you've gone sort of underground, you know, and because you don't have access to the official help of the university, it really shuts down a lot of what you can do.
It really does. So Wayne State also has released a statement, and I'm going to read part of it. And if you want to see the whole article, it's on the Daily Wire. So Wayne State University took action to decertify the student organization InterVarsity because it is in violation of the university's non-discrimination policy, which is consistent with the United States Constitution. Every student organization that applies for organizational status must agree to this policy before being certified, except that it's been certified for 75 years.
Yes.
And I say this because, you know, if it's going to go to court, the court's going to look at, I'm not an attorney, but the court is going to look at, well, what's been happening for the last 75 years where it's been okay, and now all of a sudden it's not.
Yes.
So the university is obliged and committed to protecting the constitutional and religious rights of everyone on our campus. Attaining official student organization status is a privilege rather than a right, and it is conditional on compliance with our policy of non-discrimination and equal opportunity.
Yeah. Now, what'll be fascinating to me is if they can actually come forward and show if they've got some students who are going to say, oh, I was discriminated against, or they wouldn't let me in the club, and then be able to explain how they were discriminated against, right? Because clubs don't always accept everyone who applies.
Yeah, but no club accepts everyone who applies. Well, that's not true. But, you know, so of all the fraternities and sororities, You have to go through Rush, and then there's a bid process.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they call it recruitment now. You have to go through recruitment, and then there's a bid process, and some people don't get to join the groups that they want to join. It's
true.
You could want Kappa Kappa Gamma, and you end up in, Zeta Tau Alpha.
Yeah.
So, that's are they going to get rid of all Greek organizations? I don't know. How about, all of those where you have to have a certain scholarship, right?
Mhm.
You could say that the are not, if the grades required are somehow discriminatory, blah, blah,
Honor
blah.
Society. Sorry, you can't. We have to disband Honor Society because we discriminate against the kids who couldn't get good grades.
Right.
Everything goes away.
Everything goes away. It's chaos. Dogs and cats are living together.
No.
Okay, Ghostbusters, and I don't know the rest of that quote. So imagine you're dinking around in your kitchen. You're using a vacuum, right? Like a shop vac, and all of a sudden it catches on something. And you look at it, and this is like the start of every young adult fiction for a while, and there's a secret door. You lift it up.
A
secret door into a basement. So the door's on the yes. A trap door. No, it opens outward, not inward.
Okay.
So 1 minute you're going about your business in the kitchen, maybe doing a spot of hoovering or something, and the next minute, clunk, the hoover catches on something on the floor, a loose tile. Flash forward 5 minutes and you're standing there looking into what is quite clearly the back entrance into the underworld. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes.
Let's be honest. When the phrase secret basement, when has the phrase secret basement ever meant anything good?
Ooh, I know the answer to that one. Underground Railroad, secret basement.
True.
It was a good thing.
And all the people who were hiding Jews during World War II?
Yes.
Yes. Those are good secret basements.
They were good secret basements. Okay.
So this woman, and I think she's in the UK, found a secret basement in her house, and apparently it's full of wine racks. It wasn't full of wine, from what I understand, which just made it very sad.
Right? You're like, oh my God, I found
the mother lode.
But there's no wine. That would be cool to find an actual like hidden stash of wine.
So
but
is this where she's going to tell the kids to go when she's mad at them? Get downstairs.
Right?
Shut the door. It's all dark.
Well, the location of this secret hatch, they have a picture of it. It's really a bad location. It's like right up against the cabinetry in the kitchen. I mean, it's like, it's kind of in the corner where the cabinets all come together.
Okay, but if you have a wine rack, having it in the kitchen actually makes sense.
Yeah, but like right in that particular location, it just doesn't look like a good spot. Like you'd want it off to the side or something where you could, still be working in the kitchen. This is like right in the middle of everything.
It's true. It is.
Yeah.
It is. So what a surprise.
Wow.
So with that, we are at the end of our show for today. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
I'm Chuck Hamlick, CNBC. President Trump may make an announcement about steel and aluminum tariffs today or not. There is some confusion. Stock futures are just a bit higher right now. Cigna agreed to buy Express Scripts in a $67 billion deal. Express Scripts handles pharmacy benefits for companies. This deal reminiscent of that $70 billion CVS Aetna deal. Kroger sold more groceries last quarter. Profits rose, but Kroger is also paying a lot more for commodities, shipping, and workers, and that stock will be marked down today. American Eagle's profits rose because it sold more teen lingerie at Aerie. New claims for jobless benefits rose last week, but a Chicago research group says the number of job cuts fell by 20% last month. It is International Women's Day. Brewdog out with a pink IPA called Beer for Girls to raise awareness of gender issues. Critics are seeing red, though. They're calling it a cynical marketing stunt. Chuck Kamlick, CNBC.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining, bad odors, and lead with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to goodclearwater.com. That's goodclearwater.com.
McDonald's new buttermilk crispy tenders are so crispy, juicy, and delicious they could pass for my own. So I will. Pass them for my own, I mean. I shouldn't be making chicken at my age, and I got things I'd rather be doing. Marianne! Do you hear that? The hot tub is calling my name.
Introducing McDonald's Buttermilk Crispy Tenders, made with all-white meat chicken and no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. They're not grandma's, but she's okay with that. At participating McDonald's.
And now, the Inland News Update with Blake Troman.
A Victorville teen is getting bad reviews on his impersonation of a deputy. Mara Rodriguez of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department says the 14-year-old actually made a traffic stop on a driver.
Apparently pretended that he was running her information, returned to this lady, told her he was going to give her a warning, and she was free to go.
Authorities say the kid was arrested yesterday after he allegedly drove around in an SUV, tricked out with police lights, acting like a cop. Actual deputies say they found fake guns, ballistic vests, and other law enforcement